Let's talk about the filter drive circuit on the Korg Prologue. Now this is really, really cool. I think it's my favorite thing on this synth, and it's somewhat difficult to figure out. It took me a little while to really figure out the ins and outs of it, so that's what I want to share with you today. Let's start by making a bass patch. So I'll go ahead and initialize this as... All right, and I'm going to drop our oscillator down an octave. And I'll turn the cutoff of the filter all the way down, add a little bit of envelope onto the filter. And enough resonance that it sounds kind of bendy, but not like that. Not like spacey. Kind of like that. This is a nice spot. All right, so this sounds pretty good, but of course, if we add in some drive, it just gets better and better on the bass side of things. Now, when you turn up the drive, you might notice the resonance is a little more pronounced or less pronounced. It can go both ways, I feel like. In this case, I feel like it's a little more pronounced. I'm going to go ahead and take the sustain of our envelope generator and make it match the bottom note a little bit better. And of course, switch to mono mode. Cool. So the filter drive, I find, kind of refocuses the instrument. It focuses it towards the low mids, towards the bass, and it makes it so the highs are a lot harder to get to, actually. So if I take this sound, for example, and I open up the filter, it doesn't get nearly as wide open as if I had the drive all the way down. But that's okay, because not every sound needs to have a wide open filter on it. And in fact, a lot of the times, we don't want that. On bass patches, I find that maximum filter drive is the way to go, like 100% of the time. And a lot of mono patches, really, if I'm doing anything in mono, so say, let's take it to the treble range. If I'm gonna do... This starts to have more of an obvious character change to it. I do have some resonance on it, but I'll take that off. And I took off the envelope also. So this is just me turning the filter knob. It starts to feel a little bit more like a narrow pulse wave. Since that's the direction that it wants to go in, I think that we should follow that. I don't think that the sawtooth wave is the best choice up here when you're using a lot of drive. I'd switch it to a square wave. Or even a triangle. But that's not our only choice. We could just back off on the drive. And I know you're thinking, oh yeah, you just flip the switch. It's more complicated than just flipping the switch. You have a lot of different timbres that you can get within the switch if you just change the volume. So go ahead and just use your ears on this. Just listen. Right, it sounds like a narrow pulse. And as I open this, as I turn down VCO1, we start getting more and more high frequencies coming through. And the same happens when you're at 50% drive. So even though this is a switch, you have a lot of variability within that if you're willing to change around your mixer. So for something like this, if we're gonna use a sawtooth wave, then I might back off on it a little bit. Like I might maybe do it at 50%. Our other option is to use this low cut. I actually love this thing, and the fact that it's a switch really takes the guesswork out of it. Turning on the low cut completely affects the drive. The drive sounds totally different with the low cut on. Also, adding a little bit of reverb in is going to help. Okay, let's look at some poly patches now. So I'll go ahead and switch this over to poly mode. And again, the low cut filter is pure magic for your mix, especially if you're playing live. I just played a gig and it was a little house show. There's no sound guy. This makes all the difference in the world for the mix because I was playing with a bass player. When this was off, it sounded super muddy. And when this was on, it sounded great. This thing is the best. Using it for recording may not be the way to go. You might want to make a little more surgical cut, but live, this thing's awesome. So I'm going to turn it off for now and set our cutoff to, I don't know, somewhere in the middle. Let's play a chord. Oh! Okay, up an octave. So the drive is way more pronounced when we have multiple voices going. Part of the reason for this is that keyboard tracking's off. So the filter, each one of these voices has its own filter, right? The cutoffs of all these filters are in the same place. So the drive is all in the same spot. So if we turn on keyboard tracking, we're gonna get a less driven sound. Here it is with keyboard tracking off. Here it is with it on full. So that's one thing that you can do. Of course, you can also turn down your VCOs. You can turn on your low cut filter. And it's worth thinking about that less filter drive may be necessary for bigger chords. The more you have going on, you got more harmonic information. You don't have to worry so much about timbre when you have a lot of harmonic information going on. So right now I'm playing a 6-note chord, F sharp minor 9, and it's a lot. If I simplify this to just like, I might need more drive to make it sound good than if I'm playing full voicing like that. So I can turn the drive all the way off on this. And it's still going to sound decent because I'm playing a pretty big chord. But something like this, maybe a little bit boring. Although it's not bad. It's just not quite as good, not quite as juicy. But I want to keep thinking about this drive as like a focus. We're focusing our listener into the different ranges. Right, as we turn up the drive, we focus. We're drawing the attention of the listener to the low mids. We're drawing it to the bass. We're drawing it away from the highs, really, away from the high frequencies. And as we turn off this drive, we refocus towards the top end. So we're going to use that to our advantage during sound design. If you want something quick and easy, if you want the big sweet spot from the synth, the way to do it is with your filter drive, either 50% or all the way. I would say just all the way. I think it's great all the way. But that being said, the cleaner version of the filter is going to let you tweak the high end a lot more, and that's a lot more fiddly. It's more of a pain to do. It's less fun, but it can take you further. And not every patch in a song can be giant, mega fat, saturated, juicy goodness. Sometimes you need some top end too. So here are some ideas to thicken the top end. Just because it's a top end heavy patch doesn't mean it can't sound huge. I'm going to keep playing this F sharp minor chord. The first tip is going to be to just turn up your resonance when the filter's wide open. That's with no resonance. There it is with resonance. It just sounds bigger. It sounds better because, again, it's drawing the listener's attention towards what's cool about what's happening, which is the top end. In that same vein, we can use our high pass noise from our third oscillator to, again, just draw the listener to the top end. Adding noise in is a great way of drawing the listener's ear upward. So I'm just going to add a little bit. I'll keep playing the same chord so you just get the same feel for everything. Another idea is high pass filter. Definitely brings your attention upward. Or we could add in more oscillators, more detuned oscillators. Down in the low bass, sounds okay, but it's really the high frequencies where it really starts dancing. That's going to be really nice up high. Using the unison mode where you're stacking like 16 oscillators on it, on top of each other, that's going to be a great way. We also have cross mod. That's another good option. Similar to detuning, but maybe better. These things sound good with the drive too. It's just that specialness of the top end, you kind of lose it. It just kind of turns into fizz. Finally, we have an entire digital engine in here, and that's what digital is great for, is that crazy high end, that super clean stuff. So let's go into our VPN, and yeah, this is a 2-operator FM. Gotta turn it on. I'm just gonna add a little bit, actually. That sounds nice. It might be nice to move that shape a little bit with the LFO. Let's see. Very top endy. Okay, so those are my tips for using Filter Drive more effectively with the Korg Prologue. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for subscribing if you did. I'll see you next time.